Insights with Terri Ep.199, a weekly look through the eyes of predictive astrologer Terri Ep.199. Here's Terri.
Hi everyone, this is Terri, and you're listening to Insights with Terri Ep.199. Thank you for joining me so we can explore the week of December the 15th through the 22nd, 2024. We're still in a Sagittarius energy for the sun sign and for Mercury. Mercury having gone retrograde for 3 weeks. Oh yeah, that was a trip. I have a few friends that were struggling, and I was struggling. A typical example of Mercury would be, I have 2 vehicles. My car failed, and I had to get it to the mechanic. And he said, he's busy because lots of other cars are failing. Mercury is the planet of travel, so I'm not surprised that I had mechanical issues during a Mercury retrograde. It's an old car retro, right? So, it's not a bad time to fix an old car retrograde going back in time. And I knew that it would be a quality fix because it's in a perfect energy. Not an energy for buying a new car, but an energy for fixing an old car. And it's old. Now, it was about a week and a half, and I told him not to hurry because I have the cargo van. Not easy to drive. It's a big beast, but it's serviceable. Well, I think I used it twice, and it wouldn't start. So then I have to try to figure out trickle charging and how I'm going to get an extension cord to the location that I stupidly parked it in. So that is a typical Mercury retrograde event. Now, if I spent the next 10 minutes, easily I could tell you all the other things that contributed to me understanding a Mercury retrograde. But in truth, the end result is that what was broken or looked broken needed to be fixed during this retrograde or needed to be attended to, and it's a perfect time to go back in time and redo. So it was perfect, really, because it pointed out a few things that mice had chewed at some wiring in the van. Had it started, maybe it would have dumped me someplace very inconvenient with a whole load of my dogs. So in the end, the bad things turned into good things. Not even tolerable things, good things. So if we could hold on during that time and understand that this is about us as well, retooling our way of thinking, retooling our way of behaving, patterns, retro, going over our books for tax season, coming up, yada, yada, yada. So it was a time for me, I was able to get back in contact with some friends that I so enjoyed and had let go of, attending to social matters because we get busy, and busy takes precedence over playing with your friends. And it was so delightful, and I learned so much again from them. And everybody brings something to the table, not just food, but the food was amazing. And then I learned a new food, which is amazing, but learned new things. One of the things that one of the girls shared is a app on the phone that you can get called Good to Go. And what it is a whole bunch of stores, and more are coming on board, where things are coming close to expiry date, but not expired, and you get them for a huge discount. And she was showing me all of the stuff. It's amazing. And then she showed me the map with all the red dots of all the stores that participate. I've never heard of it, but I've told about 6 people about it since. So, as I said, it's an app called Good to Go. So the whole evening was spent with each other, girls, enjoying each other's company, sharing knowledge, sharing events, sharing maybe epiphanies. So when I left there, it was divine. And we're also supposed to, with this energy, be checking into our intuition, learning about those little messages that we get from our guides, and to be attentive to them. And it can be very subtle. It could be very, very in your face. And many times we just disregard it as maybe just a casual thought or just making things up in our mind. So an instance of that would be, as I was about to leave, one of the girls generously offered her son to go out and start my van. And I don't know where it came from. I said to her, "Oh, thank you, honey. It's kind of tricky sometimes, and I don't even know if it'll start." Well, it started right up. But the next day, dead as a doornail. So that's where the van died, in my driveway, thankfully. But she even asked me, because she felt unsettled, "Can you please call me and tell me or text that you're home?" So she had a funny feeling too. So these are the little messages. So because of that funny feeling about the van not starting or giving us grief, I went out early before my appointment to try to get the girl going, and she didn't. And so I had time to call my appointment and say, "I am vehicle-less. I am so sorry." And then it allowed us to make different arrangements rather than last minute. That's a Mercury retrograde, and it's our intuition, all jam-packed into one big pill. So they are going to do this to us. I'm going to spend more time on this than I am just on where the planets are, because we've already kind of gone over that a couple of times. We have a we have a full moon on Sunday the 15th, but we'll still feel it. We've been feeling it for a few days, and we'll feel it for a few more days through the week. And the amazing thing is that a full moon is where we get new. It allows us full investigation of ourselves, full ability to. It's not a great time to diet because we're hungry all the time and our energy is high. So full experience of feeling a little bit more energy, but full experience of understanding our patterns, our characteristics, what makes us do these things. And the gift of this full moon is also on Monday and Tuesday night. The moon is in Cancer. It's in Gemini when it hits its crest, which is Sunday, but it's in Cancer, and the planet that rules Cancer is the moon. So that's a double whammy. That's like two shots in one glass. That's intuition. That's connecting with your guides. That's hearing that voice from outside of us, or really our own voice, as some people aspire to, that we are God, and we are just an extension of God or self. And I've even come to understand that sometimes our guides are, because we're all one, our guides are extensions of ourselves. Maybe not necessarily always separate energy fields. So we could talk about that for hours, but moving on, it's giving us the opportunity to really be introspective and to be connected, excuse me, with that source, however you are comfortable with describing the source to yourself. So it's going to open up some amazing opportunities for us if you're willing to listen. And it's been gobsmacking for me, exciting in a difficult way. I can't say it's easy. So many things happened, and it was starting, I gotta say, it was wearing me down and trying to be positive about it, but that Sagittarius energy in the Sun and Mercury did shore me up and let me eventually come to the positive part of it as I was laying in a heap on the ground, because two things happened at one time. My dog had been spayed and I had to keep her on a line. I was in the middle of a jump. She took off after a rabbit, and the long line was wrapped around my ankle. Now, could have been horrible, but that little voice in me said, "Look out," and I was able to position myself in a little better position, because if I hadn't, I would have had a broken ankle and very badly torn ligaments and possibly a broken leg. But instead, I just got a little torque in a ligament and an ankle. So, I mean, it turned out okay, but it slowed me down enough that I got to think a little and maybe do a little bit more meditating than I normally do. So we are being offered all these gifts that don't feel like gifts at the time, but really are. Now, the reason I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on where the planets are is because what they gave me is some pretty powerful cards that I pulled in a reading, and I want to share some of that with you. And I don't want to make it a long one like I do, because I go on and I hear a little voice in my head, shut up, Terri, for gosh sakes. So the first part of the reading was all major cards, and it's about balance and fairness was the first one. It's called Justice. And the number of the Justice card is 11, 1-1. So that's a powerful number in and of itself. But it's in a really good position, and it's saying that some of us may have some legal affairs that we have to attend to that will end fairly. Maybe we won't agree with it. If we all agreed on an answer, we wouldn't have to have a lawyer or judges, but according to the universe, it will end fairly. So it's also about maybe being judged, maybe judging ourselves, being judged by other people, and it will be fair, introspective. I had an amazing conversation yesterday with my daughter. She's an RCMP officer in British Columbia, and just what an amazing person she is. She stuns me. But we traveled down to the depths. I mean, we were really digging up stuff, and it was so eye-opening and so about childhood and how certain events affected her, and things that I understood about her and things that I didn't, and things that she understood about me and things that she didn't. Oh, there's a lot to be said for communication, and she's not afraid. She's not afraid to communicate. And it was just a glorious conversation of understanding and psychology and human nature. And that retrograde allowed us to dig deep in our past. And we've never had any issues. I'm so fortunate. We've always been able to talk. But this was a beaut. This was a beaut. And it just opened up so many things of understanding how we affect our children and maybe don't even know it. And it was amazing. So that retrograde and this Justice card, this balance card, because my balance is starting to tip as a senior, 75, pretty soon, well, sooner than I'd like, she'll be the mother and I'll be the child, and she'll be parenting me. So our roles will flip, and it's scary and interesting and exciting all at the same time. And so this balance of nature is always in motion and always in flux. So we have to be prepared. I know a good friend of mine too is experiencing that right now. She has become the mom of her mother and is doing an amazing job balancing her life with her children. I'm so impressed by her. Balancing, looking after her mother, balancing full-time job, keeping her life social, and developing herself, spending time on herself to develop herself in an evolutionary way. So, and she brings so much to the table. So it's just amazing. And I have another friend that has gone through horrendous challenges with her health and has overcome them against all odds, which is such a testament to the human resilience of and the things that had to be put into play to get her back, because we could have lost her. So this balance is so important, to know when to fight, know when to let somebody help you, know when to lay down and just be in a crumpled heap. So all of it is just so profound right now in all these major cards. Then another major card came up, which is the Fool, which is child. Learning how to be innocent and not carry baggage that we're not meant to carry anymore. But what's baggage and what's lessons, and how do we balance that? How do we figure that out? How do we know what we're carrying around that isn't working for us, and how do we know what we need to learn from and let the rest go? That's the trick, isn't it? And that's all these retros in Sagittarius and all of the opportunities and tools that the universe is offering us right now. Then the card of the Lovers came up, and that's number 6. And the Lovers is about choice. It's about choosing to stay in the comfort zone, or maybe a leap of faith going into the unknown and choosing new. So the Lovers can be about union and sharing and trust and duality, but it can also be about us making choices, major choices. So many of us are going to be faced with major choices in our life in the next little bit. And what are we going to do? Are we going to stay in the comfort zone and try to play it safe? Or are we going to expand and try to look at maybe new ways of doing things, new ways of working with things? So a lot of this energy is about reviewing very important relationships in our life. And what are we going to do? Are we going to stay where we are, keep our mind closed, or are we going to open our mind to divergent paths? What are we going to do? So this is powerful. I mean, there's so much more, but I'm trying to put a king size mattress in a pistachio shell. And also the Four of Wands came up, and that is about supporting each other. That is about back to back. We support each other. We have each other's back. So it's about community. It's about being there for each other. It's about not looking competitively at our relationships as much as we're moved to try to be a companion, a friend, a support, a haven for that person, a haven for that moment in the relationship. And so it's very powerful, and it's about development. It's about finding peace, taking maybe a hiatus and slowing down, and the joy of life, and experiencing the joy of achievement in our life. So it's a very, very powerful card in and of itself as well. And then another major card, the Woman of the World, came up, and that's about taking that new step in a brand new beginning, new phase. So many of us will be entering a new phase of our experience, a new phase of our life, reaching a natural conclusion in some of the gifts that were offered to us to use and learn and grow, coming to that natural conclusion, and then taking that step forward, golden. All the things that we achieved, all the things that we overcame, all the things that we stood up to, stood up for, or didn't, is either making us tarnished or golden. Are we going to grow from our challenges, or are we going to be beaten down by them and become lesser from them? That's our choice. So it's a culmination, wanting us to be in harmony with it, but also enjoying fulfillment about it. Now, the last one is a little bit more challenging. It's again a major card, so we're in a really important time right now, going into the new year. It's the Sun. Now, the Sun is the most positive card in the deck, but this is upside down. So this is about success. Many of us are going to achieve success in the next little bit, but it's how we look at it, how we own it, and it's delayed, or it may even be partial success. Not that we failed in any way, shape, or form, but that we maybe only got what we need at this time, saving some of it for later to build on a solid foundation. And that's hard to come to because we want full success, and that can be difficult to look at it. So we have to avoid, if we can, the look of failure, the feeling of failure, negative thinking. That really draws a lot of things to us if we're not careful with that. About pessimism, depression, ill health. So we have to be so careful what we're locked into so that we don't become the masters of our own vision and make it about ego and problems and narcissism and negativity. We have to be so careful because this card can swing around from upside down to right side up, and give us that ray of sunshine, that feeling of warmth, of harmony. But it's our choice. It's always our choice. So we have to look at the guides, I like to call them my love team as opposed to just my guides. They are my love team. When I work with them for other people, for myself, oh gosh, the love that is expressed by them humanly cannot be described. And to not connect with our guides is such a disappointment waiting to happen, because there's so much information from them and so much guidance and mentorship that we'd be missing. So don't forget to connect with them and allow for these things to enter your life, experience them, and be more because of them. So that's it, kids. That's our week, but I think it's more than the week. I find with the readings towards the end of the year, they develop it a little bit more, meaning this could be part of the next year's experience. I won't talk about it, but any of you could Google it. The number 8 was given to us for this week, so you can look at how that would affect you and could affect you. And I want to take this moment to thank Charlie O'Brien, who also experienced Mercury retrograde to its fullest, for putting us on Spotify in spite of all odds, Apple, iTunes, Amazon Music Podcast, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And he does give me the link, and I put that on Facebook. And he's created the website, www.terriworld.com, and archived some of the previous podcasts on that history. Alrighty, so thank you so much for giving me your time this week, everybody. And hopefully we will talk next week. Thank you, Charlie, for all you do for all of us. You have a good week, and if any of you need me for a private session for your animals, for yourself, for your family, 519-726-6699, or you can email me, terri.coutts@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Visit Terri's website at terriworld.com. TERRI world.com.